The story starts with an old married couple, Irene and Franklin. They've been together for years, but their lives changed after their son died a long time ago. Since then, everything has felt dark for them. One day they find something unbelievable, a portal hidden in their basement that leads to another world. Irene is scared of it. She thinks something dangerous could come through, so she wants to bury it forever. Franklin is the opposite. He's curious and even dreams of bringing other people to explore it. But because Irene refuses, he drops the idea. Over the years, they keep disagreeing about the portal. Recently, both of them have gotten weaker with age. Franklin takes Irene to the hospital, and the doctor gives bad news. Irene doesn't have much time left, and she should start preparing. Irene barely reacts, like she has no feelings left after losing their son. While Irene is still in the hospital, Franklin goes to buy groceries. But then he forgets Irene is still there and drives home alone. When he finally remembers, he rushes back, but it's already night and Irene has been waiting for a long time. Irene doesn't even argue much, because she knows Franklin's memory's getting worse too. On the way home, their car suddenly stops. Franklin realizes the gas is finished. His dementia is clearly getting worse, and the couple ends up stuck on the road. Back at home, their neighbor has been suspicious for a while. He has noticed the couple secretly going into their backyard shed late at night, so he sneaks over and checks the shed, hoping to find something big. But he only sees old junk and leaves disappointed. Much later, Irene and Franklin finally reach home. They're exhausted, so they don't check the portal like they usually do. They just go to sleep. That night, something strange happens. The portal acts like it's going crazy, almost like a storm is moving through it. Irene wakes up feeling something is wrong and goes to check the basement area. And there she finds a shocking sight, a young man lying on the floor covered in blood, looking badly hurt. Irene quickly brings him inside and starts cleaning him up, waking Franklin too. But when they look closer, they realize something weird. The man has no injuries at all, so the blood isn't even his. Franklin instantly thinks the worst. He believes the young man might be a killer and wants to call the police. Irene disagrees. She explains where she found him and says he might not even be from their world. She wants to understand what's happening before calling anyone. Franklin refuses to listen and calls the police anyway. A police officer comes to the house, but when he looks around, the young man is gone. The officer gets annoyed and thinks Franklin is wasting his time. Irene quickly covers for Franklin and tells the officer that her husband has dementia and sometimes imagines things. The officer feels bad for Franklin and leaves without trouble. After the officer goes, Franklin is upset and asks Irene why she hid the young man. Irene can't fully explain it, but deep down she feels the reason is simple. The young man reminds her of their dead son. Even though they didn't hand the young man over to the police, Franklin stays very cautious. The couple checks his belongings and notices something strange. He has no phone or modern items, only old gold coins. At first, they think he might be from ancient times, but the book he carries uses modern language, which confuses them. Suddenly, they hear a noise from his room. When they rush in, they see he has developed a very high fever. Irene asks Franklin to buy medicine. Even though he doesn't like the young man, he agrees. At the pharmacy, Franklin lies and says the medicine is for Irene. There, he accidentally learns more about Irene's test results and realizes she may not have much time left. This breaks his heart. Back home, Irene worries because Franklin is taking too long. Afraid the fever will get worse, she makes ginger soup, an old home remedy her parents once used. It works, and soon the young man wakes up. He says his name is Jude, but claims he remembers nothing else. Irene doesn't push him for answers. When Franklin returns and hears Jude's name, he becomes even more suspicious. In truth, Jude has not lost his memory. He is hiding the truth because his identity is important, and he doesn't want to drag the couple into danger. Later that night, while the couple sleeps, Jude goes to the bathroom with a small knife. He removes a tiny blue crystal-like capsule from his body, crushes it, and washes it down the drain. The next day, Franklin takes Jude's gold coins to an antique shop. The shop owner says they are rare coins from the Spanish monarchy over 300 years ago. Shocked, Franklin asks him to find out more about who might have owned them. At home, Irene notices the lights in Jude's room flickering. She finds a strange round object in a drawer. When she picks it up, the desk in front of her suddenly disappears. Frightened, she quickly puts the object back. She realizes it must be advanced technology, probably brought by Jude, but she chooses not to question him. Franklin, however, finds blood on a fruit knife in the kitchen and immediately suspects Jude. He goes to tell Irene, hoping she will finally agree to call the police. But when he sees Irene and Jude together, laughing gently like a mother and son, he stops. The moment reminds him of their late son. For the first time, Franklin begins to wonder if the young man might not be dangerous after all. After that moment, Franklin stops pushing Irene to call the police on Jude, but that doesn't mean he trusts him. Even Irene doesn't fully trust Jude. While spending time with him, She quietly watches his behavior and notices strange things. For example, when they go to a restaurant, Jude stares at the menu in amazement, as if he has never seen such food before. He also dislikes modern technology. He feels uncomfortable around electronics and is even disturbed by the television. He doesn't behave like someone from today's world. Still, since he hasn't caused any trouble, Irene says nothing. The biggest reason Irene protects Jude is emotional. She sees her late son in him. Since her son died, her life has felt empty and colorless. Jude's arrival has brought warmth back into her world. His appearance also feels like fate. He came through the mysterious portal they found right after their son's death. The timing feels too meaningful to ignore. Slowly, Irene begins to treat Jude like her own child. Jude notices her kindness. Because of his own lonely childhood, he naturally starts acting like a son. Their bond grows quickly. One day, Jude shows Irene an old faded photograph from inside his book. He says the man in the picture is his father and claims he came here to search for him. Hearing this story makes Irene feel even more sympathy for him, but Franklin is not convinced. He still believes Jude is hiding something. One day when Irene isn't around, Franklin asks Jude to get into his car. He tells him to leave town and never return. He even offers him a large amount of money for travel. Jude seems hurt by this and silently walks away toward the bus station. Seeing Jude leave so easily only makes Franklin more uneasy. He follows him and stops him before he can go. Now Franklin feels trapped. If Jude stays, he feels anxious. If Jude leaves, he feels just as worried. He decides to watch him carefully instead of making a rushed decision. Just then, another problem appears. Franklin receives a message from his granddaughter. She says she is coming to visit. She noticed the large amount of money he withdrew and thought he was being scammed, so she wants to check on them. The elderly couple quickly comes up with a story. They tell her the money was to hire Jude as a caregiver. That explains both the money and Jude's presence. Their granddaughter seems satisfied, since it's clear they do need help. Once she sees everything is fine, she doesn't stay long. If Jude had never appeared, Irene and Franklin would probably have gone back to their quiet and lonely life. But what they don't realize is that bigger events are happening around them. Their neighbor, who once searched the shed, hasn't given up. He sneaks back again and searches more carefully this time. Finally, he discovers the hidden entrance to the basement. The secret of the portal is close to being uncovered. And far away in a dry and empty desert in Mexico, someone else has also found their location. Something much bigger is about to begin. In a lonely desert town, a teenage girl is deeply in love with a boy. One day, the two are about to share an intimate moment, but at the last second, the boy suddenly pulls away. Seeing her confused expression, he cruelly admits the truth. He and his friends had made a bet that he could make her fall for him. Now that he has won, he shows his real, heartless side. Just then, the girl's mother, Stella, rushes in and throws the boy out, but the damage is done. The girl's heart is broken, and her anger grows, not just toward the boy, but toward her mother too. She has always resented Stella for forcing them to live in the middle of a barren desert, guarding an old crumbling chapel that seems completely useless. Whenever she asks why, Stella refuses to explain, only saying it is their family's responsibility. The girl wants nothing to do with this so-called responsibility. The next morning, Stella discovers her daughter has run away. Panicked, she searches everywhere and finally finds her. But the distance between them remains. The girl still doesn't understand her mother, and Stella still refuses to tell the truth. Suddenly, Stella's phone sends out an alarm. Someone has entered the chapel. She quickly brings her daughter home and carefully enters the chapel with a gun. Inside, she finds a calm stranger sitting at the table. Surprisingly, Stella sends her daughter away and sits down across from him. It becomes clear they know each other. The stranger is Stella's superior. He has come to give her a new mission. He asks if Stella has told her daughter about the organization they work for. Stella says she hopes her daughter will join later. The superior doesn't argue. He hands her a mission card and leaves. After this, Stella decides it's finally time to tell her daughter the truth. That evening, she says they are going on a long trip and that she will reveal the secret their family has protected for generations. The girl is excited and quickly packs her things. But instead of getting into the car, Stella leads her to the chapel's basement. She activates a hidden switch, and something far beyond modern technology appears. Stella enters a series of numbers. In an instant, the world around them changes. They find themselves inside a narrow passage. Stella confidently climbs a ladder, clearly familiar with the place. When they finally step out, they are no longer in the desert. The air feels different, the surroundings unfamiliar. Stella calmly explains that they are now thousands of miles away, in New York. Hearing that they are now in New York, the girl is completely shocked, but Stella acts as if this is normal. She calmly greets a man nearby, who leads them into what looks like an old factory. From the outside, it seems ordinary, but inside it is filled with advanced machines and high-tech equipment. Here, Stella finally tells her daughter the truth. Their family belongs to a secret organization that uses portals to travel around the world. The Desert Chapel was one of their hidden bases, and this factory is another. To stay hidden from normal people, all their strongholds are built in remote or quiet places, and they avoid outsiders as much as possible. The girl struggles to accept this unbelievable reality. Meanwhile, Stella gives the mission card to the manager of the facility. He scans it using special equipment, and 4 sets of numbers appear on a screen. He takes out a detailed map of New York and marks a specific area based on those numbers. That marked zone is where Stella and her daughter must carry out their mission. By coincidence, Jude and the elderly couple are living inside that same area. Stella's task is to find a certain man, and it's very likely that Jude is the target. With the manager's help, Stella and her daughter begin searching through the large city. At the same time, Jude starts feeling uneasy, as if someone is coming after him. He even has a nightmare about being hunted. He wakes up anxious and sneaks outside in the middle of the night. In the woods behind the house, he buries the strange glowing sphere he had hidden in his drawer. After hiding it, he finally feels a little relief, but he doesn't realize that Franklin saw everything. When Jude returns to the house, Franklin is already waiting for him. This makes Franklin even more suspicious. His doubts about Jude grow stronger, and he once again thinks about getting rid of him. Since Jude had said he came to search for his father, Franklin uses that excuse to take him to the police station, saying he will help him look for the man in the photograph. But secretly, Franklin steps aside and tells an officer that Jude might be a terrorist. Because Irene had earlier explained Franklin's dementia, the officer assumes Franklin is confused again and doesn't take his words seriously. Franklin feels angry and powerless. Meanwhile, Jude is honestly speaking to another officer at the front desk, showing the old photograph of his father. The officer checks the records and quickly finds that a man matching the description once existed, but he was last seen 20 years ago. The officer tells Jude that the man in the photo was once found homeless in a park. The police had taken him in and tried to help him find his family, but the man couldn't remember anything. He seemed to have lost his memory. In the end, the police had no choice but to release him, and he went back to living on the streets. After that, there were no more records of him. No one knows where he went. Jude feels disappointed, but at least he now has a small lead. When Jude returns home, he meets one of Irene's former students who has come to visit. The woman recently lost her hospital job and hopes to work as Irene's caregiver. However, because Irene is pretending that Jude is already their hired caregiver, she has to turn the woman down. This decision quietly plants the seed for trouble later, though no one realizes it yet. Soon after, Jude answers a phone call meant for Franklin. It's the antique shop owner. Not knowing about Franklin's situation, the shop owner mistakes Jude for his son. He says there is new information about the old coins. A specialist claims to know important details and wants to speak with Franklin directly. Hearing this, Jude secretly arranges a meeting without telling Franklin. The coins are very important to him because they may connect to his father. Later, Jude discovers that his belongings are missing. After thinking for a moment, he suspects the woman who visited earlier may have taken them. The missing items are extremely important, so he panics. He finds the business card she left and decides to go to her address to get his things back. But there's one problem. Jude doesn't know the city well. He gets lost on the streets. Eventually, he walks into a bar and shows the bartender the business card, asking for directions. By coincidence, he runs into Irene's granddaughter there. She insists on buying him a drink, and before he realizes it, he drinks far too much. When Jude leaves the bar, he is completely drunk, stumbling down the street. A passing police officer notices him and assumes he is homeless. The officer approaches him. In his confused, drunken state, Jude thinks the police are the people hunting him. He panics and tries to run, but he is too drunk to escape, and the officers quickly catch him. Because he tried to flee, they handcuff him. At that exact moment, Irene happens to drive by while looking for Franklin. She sees Jude being arrested and rushes over to explain. As a result, she is also taken to the station to give a statement. Meanwhile, Franklin is still upset about how the police ignored his earlier warning. Even though he knows his memory is failing, he feels angry and helpless. Just then, his neighbor shows up. Seeing Franklin in a bad mood, the neighbor suggests they play a few rounds of golf to relax. During their short conversation, the two men grow a little closer. Franklin drinks heavily to forget his worries and soon becomes very drunk. Seeing his chance, the bearded neighbor finally brings up what he really wants to know. He casually asks about the basement in the shed. The moment Franklin hears this, he sobers up. He quickly says it's just a normal storage space full of junk, but the neighbor doesn't believe him. He pushes harder and even threatens to tell the police there's an alien spaceship in Franklin's backyard. Franklin knows that kind of attention would only make things worse and possibly expose the portal. So after making the neighbor promise to keep quiet, he admits the truth. There is a portal in the basement that leads to another world. The neighbor finds this story unbelievable and demands to see it himself. With no choice, Franklin takes him to the basement, but something is wrong. No matter what Franklin does, the portal won't activate. The neighbor assumes Franklin made the whole thing up and angrily calls him an old liar before leaving. Even though the secret seems safe, Franklin can't stop thinking about being called a liar. To prove himself, he gives the neighbor a camera filled with photos he had taken of the alien world. He tells him to develop the film and see the truth, even if it risks exposing everything. At first, the neighbor thinks Franklin is just confused again, but when he develops the photos and sees the strange alien landscapes, he is completely shocked. He finally realizes Franklin was telling the truth. Meanwhile, Irene has no idea that Franklin has revealed the portal's secret. She is busy dealing with Jude at the police station. To get released, Jude has to explain more about himself. He tells Irene that he belongs to a group of alien guardians. He ran away from them to search for his father. When the police approached him earlier, he thought they were assassins sent by his organization, which is why he tried to escape. Jude assures Irene that although he kept secrets, he never meant to harm her or Franklin. After hearing everything, Irene helps Jude leave the station. Soon she learns that Jude's missing belongings were likely taken by her former student. Irene takes Jude to the woman's house to demand the items back. The woman is surprised to see them, but denies stealing anything. In the end, Jude quietly sneaks inside to search for his things himself. While looking around, he finds a strange necklace. The pendant looks like a broken tracking device, one used only by his organization. This discovery makes Jude suspect that the woman may also be a runaway member of the same group. After seeing the developed photos, the bearded neighbor fully believes Franklin about the alien portal. Excited, he searches online and finds many old rumors about portals, some dating back centuries. He returns to Franklin, saying he may know why the portal stopped working. They go down to the shed's basement and search carefully. Eventually, they find a hidden switch mentioned in online forums, but it looks different from the images online, as if something is missing. The neighbor guesses that missing part is the reason the portal won't activate. Franklin remembers the portal started malfunctioning after Jude arrived, but he keeps that to himself. Coincidentally, while walking his dog one day, the neighbor notices disturbed soil in the woods. He digs and uncovers the glowing sphere Jude had buried. It clearly looks like advanced, non-earthly technology. They bring it to the basement and fit it into the switch. It fits perfectly, but nothing happens. The neighbor then suggests using a generator to power it. Together, they haul a diesel generator downstairs and connect it. After some effort, the device suddenly activates. A powerful shockwave bursts outward, killing small animals nearby. The strong energy signal instantly alerts Stella and her daughter, who have been tracking the area. Stella calmly says they found their target. Meanwhile, Franklin and the neighbor are thrilled to see the alien landscape again, unaware they've exposed themselves. Jude doesn't hear the explosion because he's out of town. After leaving the police station, he followed a lead that his father had once been seen in Mississippi. Irene is too weak to travel, so she sends her granddaughter with him. In Mississippi, they meet an elderly man who confirms that Jude's father was there years ago. It was actually the man's father who helped Jude's father while he was being hunted. Jude's father had removed his tracker and given it to the man's father to dispose of. Over time, it somehow ended up with Irene's former student. The man doesn't know where Jude's father is now, but he remembers where he was headed. Following the directions, Jude and the granddaughter reach a small motel. The owner recognizes the man in the photo and confirms he once stayed there, but she doesn't know where he went afterward. With no new clues, the trail goes cold. Jude and the granddaughter decide to stay at the motel for the night and plan their next move. Jude and the granddaughter don't realize the motel owner has a hidden identity. From the moment they check in, she secretly watches them. After they leave the next morning, she even sends a car to follow them. In truth, she belongs to a rival organization that has been trying for a long time to capture Jude. The tip from the antique shop owner was actually leaked by her to lure him in. She didn't expect him to fall into the trap so easily. Still, Jude's trip isn't useless. In the motel room where his father once stayed, he finds an old book with a mysterious note inside. It might hold new clues. Back home while Jude is away, Franklin and the neighbor make a risky decision. They plan to enter the portal and explore the alien world. Irene had always stopped Franklin before, but now he has someone who shares his curiosity. He takes out a homemade protective suit he prepared years ago. The neighbor puts it on without hesitation. When it's Franklin's turn, he backs out. He says he can't risk leaving Irene alone. The neighbor understands and steps through the portal by himself. At first, Franklin can talk to him over the radio, but as the neighbor goes deeper, the signal becomes unstable. The neighbor mentions seeing a man-made table which confuses Franklin. Then suddenly the radio goes silent. No response. The neighbor is most likely dead. Franklin feels guilt and regret, but keeps the tragedy to himself. Meanwhile, Jude studies the note from his father's book and realizes it contains coordinates for another teleportation point. Before he can test it, Stella and her team arrive in town. They put up wanted posters and search online. Stella's daughter finds a video of Jude at a bar. They visit the bar and get the business card Jude had that night. Following the address, they reach Irene's former student. The woman demands a large amount of money for information. Stella reports back to her superior, who quickly brings gold coins. Seeing how easily they agree, the woman becomes greedy and raises the price again. The superior loses patience. He restrains her and forces her to reveal Jude's location. Terrified, she tells them everything, but it doesn't save her. The superior kills her and burns her body and car to make it look like an accident. After that, he leads Stella and the others to Irene's house. Instead of breaking in right away, they wait. When Jude leaves the house, they storm inside and capture Irene and Franklin. The superior tells Stella to secretly follow Jude and wait for the right moment. Jude and his father know a dangerous secret about the organization. That's why he kidnaps innocent people, to force Jude to surrender. Stella follows Jude through town and watches as he steps out of his car and begins talking to a girl, unaware that he is being hunted once again. Stella quickly takes her chance and attacks Jude and the girl. Luckily, Jude reacts fast and avoids getting hurt. He immediately realizes who is behind the attack. He tells Irene's granddaughter to run back for help while he holds Stella off. But he doesn't know that Irene and Franklin have already been captured. So when the granddaughter runs back, she walks straight into danger. Jude can't fight for long on his own. Stella overpowers him and brings him to her superior. By now, the superior has already found the alien portal, so he no longer needs Jude. He orders Stella's daughter to kill Jude as a test of loyalty. Stella looks torn. Then she refuses and says she will kill Jude herself instead of letting her daughter do it. The superior allows it. But just as Stella raises her gun, Franklin suddenly rushes in and attacks the superior. Everything turns chaotic. Jude uses the chance to fight back. The superior shouts for Stella to kill them, but instead she uses a taser on him and knocks him unconscious. Stella has betrayed the organization. She had grown tired of following orders. Forcing her daughter to kill someone was the final straw. With the superior unconscious, Jude and the others are safe for now. Stella says she'll handle the situation later and drives away with them. However, they are soon stopped on the road by armed people led by the motel owner. Without hesitation, she captures Stella and the others. When she finds the unconscious superior in the car, she orders everyone taken back to her base. Jude and his group don't know any of this. With the immediate danger gone, Jude focuses again on finding his father. He returns to the portal switch, takes out a small remote device, and enters the coordinates he decoded earlier. Holding the granddaughter's hand, he activates the portal, and they disappear. Watching his granddaughter leave, Franklin feels a deep sadness. Knowing he doesn't have much time left, he decides to finally chase his lifelong dream. He tells Irene about the failed exploration and the neighbor's disappearance. Then, despite her protests, he puts on his homemade spacesuit and steps into the alien world. After walking a short distance, he sees a table, the same one that once vanished from his house. It must be the object the neighbor mentioned. Farther ahead, he finds a body on the ground. It isn't the neighbor. He assumes it might be one of Jude's pursuers. Then he notices his oxygen is almost gone. He doesn't have enough to return. As his strength fades, he sees Irene standing before him. He thinks it's just a final hallucination, but it's real. Irene removes his helmet, and Franklin realizes he can breathe normally in this alien world. They never needed the suits. The elderly couple holds hands and walks forward together. In the distance, they see a breathtaking alien city rising before them, and that's where the story ends.